Hello and welcome to the United Devil channel with me, JB. I hope we're all doing it really well today. Now, today gets better and better. I think this is probably one of the quickest shows that I've put together, and it's always typical when I'm doing something. I'm putting the kids to bed. I'm doing something. Something always breaks. So I think I should just continually keep doing something. So after the Shesko bomber, the Shesko positivity today, and we've gone live with that today this morning with that one. Obviously Shesko, and it's really nice. It's really nice not to put Shesko on the thumbnail. It's fantastic. Now, breaking news. I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to say I hope we're all doing really well this morning, this afternoon, this evening. It's evening time here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm sure we get some more of you wonderful people in this chat. Now, I'm waiting for something to go wrong because I've literally just quickly put this together. So Tulip Plays in who's a legend of the chat. I did do a post on this, and she's like, just get on here. She says, go and put something together and get a chat going on here. So breaking news has caught me on the hop. So after what we've been talking about on here, and I've got to give kudos to this channel, not to me. This is not one of mine. This is not one of my logical thoughts. So Fabrizio broke this. It's coming from the master himself. Is that about an hour or so ago? So this is the tweet, or whatever it's called now. Is United approached Carlos Baleba's camp this week to be informed on the player's situation. Brighton planned to keep him at the club, as price tag would seem very, very high, as seen as difficult to do. But Man United are keen to get a midfielder over the line. So Fabrizio has come out and said it, that United are gone in, and we've started talks with Brighton over a Baleba. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. I did see a David Ornstein one as well, and I will grab that up as well. Guys, we are cooking. I mean, so Hesty says it's 2 a.m. at my place and I can't sleep over the Baleba links. I mean, I do need to get my head in the game here, because this has caught me on the hot. There's a couple of things that I wanted to say on this one. First and foremost is this one is for the chat. This one is for the community. This one is if anything happens on this one, many of you in the chat, you legends of the chat, have come out with this one before. I mean, I've kept one eye on him as well, but you guys have been pushing this. This is what you guys have asked for. This is what you guys have said, and I've probably tempered it a little bit and said, well, you know, probably not going to go for something like that after such a big deal. I've been waiting for a here we go with Shesko, and then boom, what a twist. Exactly. It's like a plot twist, right? It's like you expect one thing, and then we pivot and do a plot twist to something else. So where do we even begin on this? So again, as we're all waiting for a Shesko here we go. Shesko is going to happen, by the way. Like we said, I'm just going to say this again, because we are on here. We are knocking it out of the park. I'm not doing this on my own, by the way. This is not a me. This is an us, right? So we've been saying this morning, early hours of this morning, and we basically said that what's going to happen now is some of the bigger channels are going to go live with the Shesko stuff. They're going to start to pull it through. We're going to start seeing it during the morning. Channels will go big in it. It's all going to start to tumble, right? And that is what happened today. We remain calm. We remain calm and collective on here about the Shesko deal. Now, through the whole of that, I am going to say that Baleba has been consistently in this chat. consistently said that we should go for him. We want this player. We should go to get this player. And I've always said, I wish that United, the club, would come into our chats and chats like these and listen to what we are saying, because I've always had the belief that we know more or equal to the club scouts, and I would trust you guys over the people at the club. I get pushback on that, but of course that's fine. And here we are, Baleba again. Who would have believed that? Eh? I mean, that is an absolute ridiculousness. Now, Mark Stewart says, I would love Adam Wharton more, but can't see Palace letting him leave. Again, I'm coming to this point right now that I'm not going to rule anything out. I mean, I think Wharton would be cheaper than a Baleba deal to do. I don't know if I'm right on that one. I think they'd probably be around about the same price. But I do think that if you go for one or you go for the sort of other one, maybe we think that Baleba would come in at a fair price. Now, I genuinely couldn't put a price on what I think Baleba would be, because I just, not because I don't know about the player, I know Brighton and what they are with their stats. Casido obviously went for a lot of money. Their players go for a lot of money, but I don't know Baleba, would he, can we catch him at the right point before he tips over into that sort of £80 million player? I don't know. I'll leave that up to the chat to come back on that one. Premier League 200 says, big up JB. Yo, my friend, I hope you're doing. I can't see this happening. So again, let's talk through this, and let's talk through what's already been put out there. So David Ornstein has come out and said this as well. So Hesty, does it mean we should have believed Bruno when he said Amarin told him the club doesn't need money when he turned down Saudi? Tulip Play says, let's go Joe Biden. Let's go Joe Biden. Let's go. Let's go. Tulip, this is all because of you. Okay, you've had a hand in this one tonight. I just put out a post out there, and you said, be on here, and I've heard the call, and I've done what the community's asked me to do, and I've come on here for us all to get excited about this deal. So Hesty, again, this is where this is the beauty of what we do on here, and all the chats that we have, and all the conversations that we have. So Shesko, tick, we've been right on that one. So we've talked that through together as a community. I'm sort of the mouthpiece that it comes out of, just purely because I'm the one with the microphone and the camera, but I pretty much relay what we talk about. This is not a me, this is an us, and I'll always give credit to us on here. So the Shesko thing, tick. We spoke about that as a community. We got through that together, and we got that over the line. Not us, but we it feels like we got that one over the line. We've also been talking about all these different things about Fernandes. Should he have been sold? The reasons why he wasn't sold. He was told that we didn't need the money. I said that on here, that if we don't need the money for a Fernandes, then why can't we buy players? And to come back to you, Hesty, and I think that's a fantastic point, is that now why Bruno has said what he said? And that is what's come out and said, we don't need the money to sign players. And this is now what's going to happen. Have we been playing the market, allowing people to think that actually, do you know what? They've been taking us for mugs for a number of years. Now, if this is the case, I'm not going to take this to an Ineos piece, but it is well played. If we start doing these deals at this time, and we've got the money to do these deals, then it is well played. I will concede it is extremely well played, but I'm not going to get caught up just yet. So let's get into the chat already. This was always my dream. Tulip Plays, absolutely, 100%. That's what you've always said. Please make it happen. Baleba, Mainoo's best attributes, Ugarte's best attributes combined. Premier League 200. I feel like Board is trying to win the league if they make this happen. Premier League 200. these are the moves you need to make. If you want to win a Premier League, if you listen to Omar Barada, they want to win a title by 2028. These are the moves you need to make. These are the moves you need to make to win a Premier League. So, okay, let's say, for example, in a hypothetical situation, he comes into the club and we get a keeper and we get a significant keeper as well. Then you are saying we want Champions League. We're making moves to do something. Maybe you still don't win a Premier League, but you're making waves to do something. Now, to come back to Tulip's point, is this a case where actually, do you know what? If Baleba comes in, do we sell a Mainoo? Is it because we know that we've got these players to sell that we can do these deals? And what we're going to do is we're just going to unload a bunch of players and we're going to get our deals done first. And we've changed tact as a club. And this is what I mean in reference to Hesty's original comments to when we were told about the money and the things that we're trying to do, and we discuss it on here. We're going to see now at the end of the window, it's really important that we keep this club accountable for the things that they do and the things that they say. And this is why we wait to the end of the window. We need to keep them accountable for the things that they do. And then at the end of the window, we can take stock and go, actually, do you know what? They've done X, Y, and Z. And actually, at that point, we can then go, okay, well, maybe they are trying to do stuff now. So, but we do still need to be optimistic. We do still need a little bit of pessimism in there to temper this all. Because right now, according to Ornstein, we have entered at least we've entered the talks. Right, we are going to do something significant. Romano has said that already. We're clearly looking to do something big in that position. This would be a significant sign, and this for me would be a statement signing for the club and for the fans. I think this one would be for the fans. I mean, I have you guys in the chat, and welcome everyone to the chat. So Mark Stewart again becoming a little bit of a legend of the chat there, Mark. I see. Bringing this together and this one, guys, this one, if this was to happen, we can talk through some of the stats on him. This is on you guys. This is one for the fans. Hesty says, let's calm down. Yeah, if Paul are interested in him, then I can't be optimistic. Let's see. I am right now. I'm not going to be too optimistic, because the moment that I am, that's when things tend to go awry. I was on Shesko, absolutely adamant, remain calm, tempered, everything as we did on here, and that happened. We're getting excited. We are getting excited. We're getting a bit lofty. We're getting a bit above our stations now. And I'll tell you something really, really funny, actually, because this is great. And I'd love you to infiltrate his chat on this one, right? I'm going to be a little bit mean, and we can do something. Mark Stewart says, Senny Lament is on standby and waiting. Mark, I agree with you, mate. We've said on here, and you've been part of that as well, my friend. You said it on here before. Senny Lemens, I think, is lined up and ready to go. I think he's going to come in. Again, I think on here, we've been saying that for quite some time. I think that's the worst kept secret out there. I think Lemens is definitely the way to go. If you have just joined, please don't forget to chuck us a like. It literally costs us nothing. It helps get this community out. Helps push this community out to the world. This is a fantastic community. If you watch some of the videos that we do and you sit through it and listen to me reading out the chat and get involved in the chat, you will genuinely see how amazing this chat is and how intelligent they are, how intelligent we are together. What we do on here, we talk about things, and we actually get quite a lot of stuff right, or we're there or thereabouts. So typically, a lot of people in this chat, we get so many things right, even from the players that we suggest, the players that we talk about. we're already ahead of the curve and ahead of the game. So that, welcome to the chat. If we could get Baleba and Šeško in this window, we could gamble with Onana until Jan, maybe. Not for me. It's a bit like, I get what you're saying, but for me, it's a bit like you go and buy like a Ferrari, you go and buy a Porsche, you go and buy some amazing Porsche, and you basically go and stick some crappy tyres on it. You got a car that looks amazing. You know, it can still do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. You know, this is amazing high-tech piece of performance vehicle that you can drive around, impress people, but the tyres are crap and it can't grip and you're going to crash. I mean, you need the tyres as well. So if we are going to go for Baleba and we are going to go for a push, we need a keeper as well. So we definitely need a keeper, because otherwise it's almost a bit like you're nearly there. Onana is that, if we kept him, and I get what you're saying, but I think we need to get Lamens, we need to get a keeper. 17 million. At the end of the day, if you're spending 2 to 300 million pounds, what's another 17 million pounds? I think if you're going to do it, then you've got to do it full ball, and then we are knocking on the door of fourth. We are starting then to knock on the door of fourth, and maybe that is what we're trying to do. Maybe now Ineos, maybe the football people around them are actually like, guys, we need to do this. Like, if we don't get into the Champions League, we lose revenue money, we lose sponsorship deals. You know, we need to get into this Champions League, and Amorim knows exactly what this team needs. So if all this happens, then I can be persuaded on the football side, not Ineos or Sir Jim, but on the football side, we actually have people that now know what they're doing, and we are going to back this manager and give him a chance. And then Amorim, for those who are not set on the manager, then he has been given the tools to do something, and let's see what he can do with that. So De Gea has been washed since 2018. Let's be real, that Ronaldo hat trick in the World Cup finished him. De Gea for me, I think Tulip, I think that's an interesting point. I slightly agree on that, not overly, because he has won the Golden Glove. But then again, you could also say, is that because we've been absolutely abjectly terrible that he's faced more shots, and he is good at stopping the ball. So De Gea for me definitely needed to go, and I agree with that. I do think he needed to go, but I think we could have kept him a little bit longer. I mean, I'd rather him in the sticks rather than Onana. I do agree with you that he definitely did need to be replaced, but I think we replaced him at the wrong time. So I do agree with that, but I think we just replaced him at the wrong time. We didn't need to do that, but that's what happens when you've got football people who don't know football in charge of this magnificent club. Hesty says, please do something to De Gea this weekend. Lock him somewhere in. Don't let him go back to Italy. As I've said, I think I agree with Tulip plays on that. If we're not going to go get another keeper, certainly, but he is of a past time. Onana is of a time. We do need to do something different now. He's gone. You know, as much as if Onana was to stay, I'd much prefer him to stay at the club. But I think if we are going to go, then we've got to go new. Get Onana out of this club. Leave him as a number 2. And literally as a number 2. 2014, 2017, yeah, was his best shot stopping. Yeah, I agree. Some of the saves he made in those years was absolutely ridiculous. Was making Onana type errors regularly. Issue was he wasn't... Yeah, I think De Gea, I think for me, I think you are doing him slightly a disservice. I don't think he's been as bad as Onana, on the basis that ultimately, De Gea could stop a shot, and he wouldn't necessarily turn it into like the danger. He'd know how to palm a ball out. You know, I think I think here at the end, I think many fans, including myself, were like, if we're going to replace him, I think now is the time to do it. But we need to replace him with something good. I never bought into a ball-playing keeper. I just never saw that straight away. But I don't disagree with the things you're saying. For me, a Nana for me is just absolutely awful. I don't ever think he's been that bad. But again, you know, people watch football in different ways. So, Chillet plays. I have sort of been looking at some of the stats on your FB ref. Now, I've not really done some comparisons too much. This caught me on the hop, as it was. I've just kind of pulled it up and just started to have a little overview. And this is terms of him against other midfielders and where he ranks in those, and sort of what his percentile is against other people in his position. Now, if we're looking at things like total of shots, in fact, I'd probably say let's go down to probably things like pass completion. So it depends on what you want from a defensive midfielder. Now, I want somebody who can pass. I want somebody who can progressive carry the ball, who can take on the ball, who's not scared to take on the ball, who can tackle, who can intercept, who can block, and he can win things in the air. And Baleba excels at all of those things. So if we're looking at things like pass completion, now for a defensive midfielder who is he 21 still? He's, in terms of percentile, he's up there. He's 74th percentile. We've got an 87.4% pass completion over 90. And that is, I think that's ridiculous for somebody of his age. Now, the progressive carries is, again, around about 68, which is above, which again is high overall as a percentage. Successful take-ons about 88, so 1.12 a game. The progressive carries are about 1.45 per game. The successful take-ons puts him up into the 88th percentile, which puts him right up there, in and amongst the best midfielders. And this is where it gets really interesting, and why I would want him as a defensive midfielder. So tackles about 2.67 per game, around about the 79th percentile. Now this is where it gets ridiculous. So interceptions, 90th percentile. That is right up there with some of the best in across the world. Interceptions about 1.56 a game, so that's 90%. It puts him right up there. Blocks 1.59, again it puts that right up there in the 85th percentile. And his aerial duels won about 1.32, so in the 76th percentile. So for those progressive carries, to run with the ball, to tackle, to take those balls out, and to take the pressure away, 21 years old, and he's already looking like an absolute beast. I mean, it is these stats, and it's only when you start looking at these stats, he has got elite stats. So if you're looking for a defensive kind of midfield monster who can take the ball, can complete a pass, progressive carry the ball, successfully take people on, tackle, intercept, block, and win in the air, Baleba pretty much is second to none. And that is absolute freak. That is an absolute scary, freaky player to have on your team. 21 years old. I mean, you are talking 10 years. You could somebody like him could easily go for 10 to 12. I mean, those are ridiculous. At 21 years old, let's, for example, if we didn't get him this season and he had a similar season, he is potentially going to be more than Casido, more than Lavia, more than any other player that they had before. They know they've got an absolute gem on their hand there. Freaking freaky. High up there on Carlos Baleba. Is there a chance of I think right now there is a chance. I don't think we're going for players, and I have to be fair-handed and I have to be open and say that David Ornstein has said that so we have gone to Brighton via intermediaries to explore the conditions of a deal for Carlos Baleba. They don't plan to sell him this summer, which obviously means, money. All sides are aware of a move may not be unrealistic, but they're keen should they know in the coming days if it's plausible. So, if we're quoted, they may go, look, £79 million, and we may go, that might be a good deal to do. So I think we are seriously looking at that. So I do think there is a chance. I think we'll quickly know on that one whether it's a sort of bust or not. But it does go to show the calibre of centre midfield that we are looking at. Tulip says, Baleba is elite at everything other than progressive passing. He's all round as you can get. Quick, strong, wins headers, carries, dribbles, press, resistant, which I think is really key as well. Covers ground and work rate, a beast. I agree with you, absolute beast. Chief Herb, a legend of the chat. Holy Mother Mary, no freaking way. Yes, freaking way. Yes, freaking way. We are looking at this deal. Hussein Mohammed says, hi mate, hello my friend, you're welcome here. Come on, United, boom, boom. Exactly. Chief Herb, damn, we're cooking. Big man things. We are doing big man things. Danny B's in the chat, legend of the chat. Big up JB. Am I dreaming? No sir, I am in front of you, telling you that Baleba, we are in talks with Brighton over a possible Baleba deal. You are not dreaming, my friend. You are awake, and this is real life. Just finished work. Luke Powell, hi mate. I hope you're doing really well. F9T, Baleba signing could be the best signing this season. So Shesko, Baleba, Lamens, where do you see us next season? F9T, well, if we do that, my friend, we need to be pushing fifth. I think we need to be pushing fifth. I think if you invest that sort of money, maybe I'm mad at that point. Maybe I'm starting to believe the giddy hype. But I think at that point we should really be pushing. We should really be pushing fifth. I think what would stop us from fourth is the depth of the squad. I think that then makes our first team a very, very viable, good squad. I worry about the drop off for the players coming on, as we've already seen. But I think if you get those players, then I think that gives you a really good foundation of a team. Obviously, dependent on injuries, dependent on what we do throughout the season, that gives us a really good shot at top 5, and on a really, really good day, a top 4 chance. So if we do those sorts of signings, then I think Amarin then needs to step up to the plate and needs to be on it, because I think there will be an expectation, and he's got players in, some proven players that can do a job. He's had a load of money at him, and we're going to go for this. So I think if this comes off or something along those lines, then I think that we're seriously putting ourselves into contention for those Champions League spots, because we need to. We need to wake up as a club, not as fans, because we're awake. Judging by what we've been talking on in here, we need to wake up completely. Tulip has put another one in the chat. At Wharton, we can look at that as well. Chief Herb says, I'll say it first. We are winning the league. Chief Herb, as always, sir, I salute your optimism in this, my friend. I love your optimism as always. Those of you who just joined, stick a like on this. If you are a believer and you believe in what we're trying to do, if you believe in this channel, press the like button, give us a subscribe, let us know, get in the chat, come and say hi. This is one of the most amazing communities that we are building here. We're getting bigger and bigger on the journey to, I think, 7,000 now. We're not going to stop until we get to 100,000. But we're going to get to 7,000 first, and then we hit the next milestone. It's all thanks to this amazing community on here. You are welcome in the chat. I will say, obviously, be respectful. I don't mind taking off topics slightly, talking about different stuff, as long as it's to do with the club. I don't even mind maybe talking about something else from time to time, but as long as it's respectful and we all agree this is a community. This is a community built, and it's a collective, and we drive the chat together. We can obviously talk about stuff, but number one is obviously be respectful in the chat, be respectful to the people in the chat as well, because this is an amazing community. And if you watch some of the videos that we've spoken about, this community is where it's at. With the things that we talk about, the plays that we talk about on here, just get in this chat, even just for that. Let's have a little look. Walton, yep. Tulip, let's have a little look at that. Let's have a little look as well. I mean, what Walton stats alone. I mean, if you're so, just to give you a sort of a little bit of a highlight there. In fact, I might even let me see. Let's see if I can do a little bit of a thing here. So let's do Walton first, and let's grab that. Let's grab Walton. Give that a bit of a save. Lovely. Let's get that down. Okay. And then what we're now going to do is get Walton in there. Because this is what we do live on here. The chat dictates what we do. Get that in there. So get some of that on there. So if we get Walton up, and then we'll try to get. Let's have a little look. I'll try to get our man Baleba in there as well. So let's see if we can have a little side by side, because I think we need both. Looking at these stats, and we can do this together. So we've got Baleba. Hope you're a Baleba. Absolutely love it. Right, so let's get this in. Okay, so we've got a Baleba, Carlos Baleba, and we've got a Adam Walton on here as well. Okay, let's make this a bit bigger. So we've got both of them. Doesn't matter if it covers my face. Okay, so let's have a little look at this. So transition over. Okay, so we've got 2 scouting reports here. Tulip plays, big up there. So if we're gonna look at both of these now, let's have a little look at these. Before we do this, have a little go through the chat. Kebito, Hamed, let's go. Chief Herb says, no F that. Scouser narrative. We're Galactus at this point. Love it. Okay, top 4, Giddy. Temishken, legend of the chat, is, again, getting in there with these names. I love that. If we get Baleba, Lemens, Shesko, we have to aim for 5th. F9T says, yeah, if we reach out for targets for the summer, 5th is very plausible. More pressure on Amrin to... Yeah, I agree with you. We're on the right path. Hope the selling club goes well too. Luke Powell, welcome my friend again. Imagine if we get Baleba and Donnarumma. Gavin Underwood, welcome my friend. Hope you are doing really well. If we do, Luke, why can't we get 3rd or above? Ooh, if we do get Luke, then why can't we get 3rd or above? Gavin, I think that's a good question. I think that the problem is, I think that the problem for me is, let's just say we do get these players, right? I think I'm going to move this slightly. I'll move this slightly. No, that's me. I've just moved. Okay. I'll move this slightly over here for a second. So just to sort of answer Luke there quickly before we get back into this comparison. So I think the reason why, instead of just trying to move this out of the way, what am I trying to do? Here we go. So the reason why I think top 3 is out, possibly top 4, is basically because their squads are better. I think there's more depth in the City squad. I think there's more depth in the Liverpool squad. There's more depth in the Arsenal squad. Also, they've been longer together. I think they've got more experience as a team together. Just yet. Now, what may happen is if we get those players, and as some of those teams start to drop off and need players replacing, maybe Arsenal, then maybe we jump back up there. But right now, in my logical head says the reason why we can't get a 3rd, it's not impossible, but the reason why I think we're falling out of that 3rd and 4th position is purely because purely because I believe that Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, and City just have bigger depth than us, and I think that's where it ultimately lies. So we're going to go back now to this comparison, and obviously feel free to get your comparisons in here. I just realised I was miles behind the stream. 13 likes. Hey mate, massive big up there to J United, another legend of the chat as always, absolute ledge. Everything we need for a holding 8, does better, tackle, intercept. Tulip plays is simple, top 4 finish, top 4 and get better. We finished 15th and got better. Too big of a gap to close, but we aimed for 5th, which is still exactly that. So if we're looking at Walton and we're looking at Baleba, let's see if I can get this name down. Let's get this all right. So I think when you're looking at, I think it really depends for me on what sort of midfielder that you want. Now, I think that when you're looking at both of these players, I think both of them, in my humble opinion, are both definitely bring something. I think when you're looking at somebody who's, if you want a powerful tackling, intercepting, I think more of a defensive midfield machine, I think you go for Baleba. But I definitely think Walton, when you want that sort of assist, that goal assister, maybe more of a, I think as Tulip plays has alluded there, kind of more of a sort of a number 8 sort of role. Walton can, I think, obviously play. I think Walton is more of a proper traditional centre midfield type, so like a Stevie G. That's maybe Stevie G had so much to his game, but he reminds me of that. He can assist, he can pass, he can carry that ball. He's 91 percentile progressive passer, 7.3 passes per game. That is ridiculous. Can tackle, can intercept, can clear as well. He reminds me of a proper centre midfield player, not a Fernandes type who's a number 10 pretending to be that sort of number 8, but Adam Walton seems to be that proper sort of number 8 midfielder, whereas Baleba is that classic defensive midfielder, sort of classic powerhouse, tackling, interceptions, blocking, powerful. You know, not as good with the progressive. He can not as good with the progressive passes, but is a good carrier of the ball and can take that ball off the back four and bring that forward. So I think as I'd say that there's an argument for both. I think I like both of these players. I definitely like both of those players. For me, I'd like them both. I think if you were to get both, obviously you'd need to lose Ugarte, Mainoo, Fernandes, possibly. I wouldn't mind one or the other. I think it really depends if you want a really ultra defensive, young defensive midfielder who's going to basically tackle in his sleep. He's going to give you that defensive mindedness that you need, and that's going to allow your forward players to go forward, knowing that you're going to basically have that holding midfield player who's young, he's strong, he's going to be able to he's going to also allow those wing backs to bomb forward, because effectively then what you could then have is you've got the back three, but then you sort of then know you've got that defensive midfielder who's sat there that can basically play in that hole, that can play from left to right, who's quick, he's powerful. So that gives you so many options, whereas Wharton, you know, will give you similar options, but maybe not as powerful, but still gives you, you know, he's still there, can tackle, can pass. So I think it depends on if you want to go for more of an ultra defensive centre midfielder, a defensive midfielder, a proper defensive midfielder, or do you want to go for somebody who's a little bit more of an artist, a little bit more of a, I want to say like a Stevie G, but Stevie G could do it all right. So maybe a little bit more of that type, but I think Baleba for me would be the one that I would go through looking at those stats. So Bobby, hi Bobby, legend of the chat. Jay says, I realise I'm miles behind the stream. I've caught up now. Cheers, bud. It's simple. Top 4 finished. Top 4 got better. We finished. Yeah. Gavin says, all the clubs you mentioned are having a stretch season with the European games. Gavin, I think you make a really, really good point here. I think if we get these players in, so if we get, for example, a Baleba in and a keeper, and we can keep relatively injury-free, and we have a really good season and confidence is up, I think anything's achievable. But when you factor in, and I know these clubs, as you say, they are going to have a stretch season, and as it showed last season. But we all know City, Liverpool. That's why Liverpool are building an absolutely huge squad. City have got a big squad. Arsenal have got a big squad. I still say Arsenal's squad is the weaker. If I was going to pick off 2 teams for 3rd and 4th, it would definitely be a Chelsea and it would definitely be an Arsenal. Chelsea have a load of players, but I think it's going to take them a little bit of time to bed in. So I think they could be gotten out this season. Arsenal as well. I think Arsenal have got a decent sized squad, but they haven't got a massive squad. You know, and I can start to see injuries come here and there. And apart from Gyökeres, in terms of strikers, that's all they've really got. So he's going to have to be doing a lot of games. He's going to be playing a lot of games. So, Gavin, I think you make a good point, but I think it'll be a tall ask for this season. I do think though, if we get a Baleba, we get a goalkeeper, maybe we get another midfielder in. But if we start making those moves, we there is no reason why we, in my opinion, I like that. Walton is a poor man's Scholesy. That, yeah, I agree with that. While Baleba is like a Vieira. If you can't tell from this, Tulip Play really likes. She really likes Mr. Baleba, so she really does like Carlos. Arsenal was terrible in today's game. Yeah, Arsenal. I'm not going to read too much into Arsenal really, because they can come here and there. But I've got a feeling about Arsenal. I think they're going to be the weaker of the City. I think they're going to be weaker of Liverpool and City this season. Maybe Liverpool have bought too many players. We don't know. I think it's going to be a season to watch, but we need to make these moves. I think we can talk about this and it becomes exciting, but the fact that we are talking to these players, it's not like, one of the things that I do like is that it's not just spin at the moment. We do have Fabrizio, credible, who's not a mouthpiece for the club. He does get things out. Ornstein is slightly different, but when Romano puts things out, he doesn't have to put things out, but when he does put things out for the club, these things happen. So it's not just spin. I've always said be careful of spin and where things come from, but when it comes to Fabrizio, this is definitely not spin. Joe, legend of the chat, if United somehow manages to get Baleba and we get Donna, then we go for the title this season. Joe, again, I do love the optimism. I still think we're light, my friend. I still think we are. I think we're light as a squad. Again, I love the fact that we are starting to believe that we can do this. I like the fact that now these signings are starting to make us believe, but I still think we need to sort of temper it. What goes, I think, in your favours is that we've only got Premier League. So we have got time to play as a team. We have got time to suss these teams out, to practice more. So, yeah, if we get these players, then I believe that 5th is possible. Maybe on a really, really good season, maybe 4th. But I think that to suggest we win a title, I think it's premature. I think we need another couple of players. Yeah, I think we need a very, very good keeper. If we get a world-class keeper, I think For us, okay, so for us to win the league, this is what I think we need. As 5 massive signings, there's no way we're not contenders with Baleba and Donna. I still think, again, if we get a keeper, I still think that we're a wing back short. I think we need a wing back. Probably need another midfielder as well. I still think we lack depth. My worry would be if we get injuries, and I have to think logically about if we're on, say, a title charge, okay? If we get a Baleba, right, and he's injured, who comes in? Can we get a replacement? Not necessarily a like for like, but who comes in to pick up for those games? Do we have anybody? Shesko gets injured. Do we have personnel to come in? So if we're towards the back end of the season and we're getting injuries and players, have we got a team to sustain a charge? And I don't think we have just yet. I think we will have a first team, but I think for me, it's the depth. And I don't disagree with you, Joel. I think that he is one of the best keepers in the world as well. I don't disagree that these signings are 5 massive signings, but that's how far behind we are. I think ultimately where I am on this is that is how far we are behind. We need 5 massive signings to catch up, to get on par for a first team squad, to be able then to challenge. So we need to have another season like this season, next season. So the transfers that we made this season, maybe we don't need to make as many quality signings, but we need to do this next season. We did it last season, we did it this season, and we need to do it again next season. So I think if we do it again next season and we build on last season, because let's not forget we finished 15th last season and the majority of that squad is still here. If we're going to go for a push, we need 3 more signings, and we do it again next year. We get another 5 in, and then at that point, I think I would be in agreement that I think that we need depth. And right now we have signed 3. We need a midfielder and a keeper. If we get those in, then I think we can have a serious conversation about 4th or 5th. But right now, I think title, maybe 2nd or 3rd, I think is beyond us. And mostly because of the depth. And we don't actually have those players in just yet. But you can reserve the right to tell me that I'm wrong. I'm more than happy to be proved wrong on that one. Tulip says we finished 15th. Poole finished 1st and have spent more than us. Realistically, we should aim for. And I think that's right. I think Jay, you're spot on as well. Welcome, Jay, legend of the chat as well. F9T. We are not in competition with Liverpool and City, no matter the signings. We might get lucky if Chelsea they bottle it. Also, we are mentally exactly. I think that F9T. I think you've summed it up well. This is where I'm at on it, right? Every season, I demand we win the league. That as a fan base and as a club, we hold these players and the management to that standard. The standard is we win the league. That is the standard. Now, obviously, that's not achievable right now, but you have to set those standards. That is the standard. I demand we win the league every single season. We win a trophy every single season. We're in the Champions League every single season, but that is not going to happen now. F19 makes a fantastic point. Mentality as well. Our mentality is shot. We're not only are we building a club again, but we're building that mentality into these players. We've got these mercenaries out, weak mentality players out, and now we are building mentality into these players. So that takes time as well. You can't just go from losers, so to say that, playing against one of the worst Spurs sides, and it's no disrespect to Spurs, but they were. Didn't even have 4 or 5 of their best players, and we were worse than them. You can't turn that around, have the majority of that team still here, and expect to go to 3rd, even with a couple of signings in there as well. So I think F9T, I think, has hit the nail on the head. We still need to we need to build winners, and that takes time. Even for Fergie, it took him time to build winners, and we all want it now. We want everything today. I don't just disagree with the comments that we should be doing this, but I think it's going to take time. As Gavin says, yes, Joel, but we need to be looking to get the number one spot every year. Gavin, again, before I read what you said there, mate, I agree with you. That is our number one aim every season, and I agree with you. And it pleases me to read that. That is not just me that thinks that. We need to be holding this team and this to those standards every season. We need to be number one every season, and the seasons that we're not, it's a failure, and that's how you build winners. Jay United, no, we haven't. We don't need many options at all. Very weak bench, probably one of the weakest. I agree. Giles says, I'm not saying that we will win the title. I'm saying that we're going to challenge with these far players. No, I think we'll mount a challenge. I think we'll be there or thereabouts. I think we can push ourselves up there. And if, say, we're 10, 12 points off, I think that's a little bit of a title push. Maybe we could be, in and around the top 3 or 4 up until Christmas. Maybe if things go right with these sorts of players, but then we will tail off completely. Unless we do like a Leicester, but I can't see that. And I think we will be in a pseudo title push, but it won't actually be a title push. So I see where you are, but I kind of think it'll be a kind of false dawn. Then next, see, we get Agum back up to Baleba. Jay says, before last season I predicted we'd get 16th. People laughed at me and didn't believe me, and we finished 15th. Jay, I pretty much was the same, my friend. I struggled last year. I didn't think we'd go as low as 15th. I thought around 10th, but that really shocked me last season, Jay. Rob, we probably need a couple more windows to challenge, and these new players will get time. Exactly that. And every window we build, and every position we finish higher, every cup we win, this is every Champions League is there. Shesko has already played 28 games in there, by the way, so he's primed and ready to go. So and he's going to be older. We're priming ourselves, we're arming ourselves for the future. Giles says, but I agree with Romana, who says it's going to be really hard to get Baleba done, and I do not think we'll get Donnarumma, but had we got them, I believe shattering change at the club. Joe, I don't disagree with you. I think Romano sums it up. I think it's going to be difficult to do, but the fact that we are in, for me, why that is a significant update is it shows that we are trying to do those sorts of deals. Maybe we're lining it up for next season, but it shows our intentions. It does show what it is that we're trying to do this season. It shows that we are going to look for a centre midfielder, and maybe it's not him. Maybe that's one for next season. But at least we know we're doing something this season, and maybe we try and get a deal done for next season. But at least we are trying to do something. So, Joel, I think I do agree. But let's just live in hope and pray. Now, what I am going to say, and I've showed you this before, and I've told you the story, and this has been at the side of me since I've got it, and since I've picked this up, I still need to sort it out and put it on the wall behind me. Is this picture, and I've shown this now 3 to 4 times. The last time I put this picture up was when I was about 7 or 8, and I had this picture. It was in a magazine called Shoot or Goal. And I put this exact, not this one, but this same one, but it was bigger. And I am going to put this in a frame. And I put it up on the wall above the bed. And we basically just lost the title to Leeds. So I put this up. And it never come down until I sort of moved. And thanks to this picture, magical things started to happen. And that is no joke. That's the reason why I got this picture. And that's the reason why it's no joke. And this thing has been sat here next to me, right? And these things are starting to happen. Now, look, all I'm saying is if 30, Jesus, I'm old. 35 years on, 35 years on, this can bring us more luck, and so far it's brought me luck so far. Shesko, I've been calm. It's been sat there. I've been calm. Just maybe. So I'm going to put it up on the wall. I'm going to do some stuff with the wall there, and let's see what happens. So if we do win the league, then we all know why. We all know why. So I'm just putting that there now. It's because of the picture. Obviously, I'm kidding. Okay. Jay says we definitely need more windows. It's going to take about 6 months to a year to gel. Yeah, I agree with that. I have Watkins versus Shesko under Amarin. If you want me to send it to you, JB, yes, please do. Please do, my friend. Chuck that over. That picture could be our good luck charm. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be a era-defining picture. Mark my words on that one. It would be helpful if we could forget about past seasons. It's not helpful to come to the future. Is not making it because it's not our recent part. Now, Gavin, this is where, and I respect that opinion completely. I do. But this is where I differ. Now, when I talk about the past on here, and I will talk about the past, I probably don't talk about the past as much as I like to do. Now, the reason why, and I'll give you my reason why behind it, it's not because I look back, not because I look back on those days, because I wish I was back there. Those days are gone. Okay, those days are gone and they're done. I look back on them with pride. I lived that time, but the reason why I look back, and I will reference back then, is because of the type of club that we were and the type of people that we had in terms of players at the club. Now, in my opinion, that still stands true today. When you're building a title-winning side and you're looking at characters that you need, and you're looking at the respect that the players you have around you and the characters that you have in your team, that doesn't change. I don't care what era you're in. You could be in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, noughties. You look at the characteristics. You look at the characteristics of, say, like a Bobby Moore, right? He still holds true today. You look at some of the England captains. You look at a Rice. I'm not saying a Rice is as good as Bobby Moore, but if you look at those types of characters, you look at the way they conduct themselves, the way that they play the game. You look at Brazilian players, you look at Spanish players, you look at all these players from the past, the ones that win things. They're different players, and you can take out the medals, and you can take out the trophies and those players and the games that they played in, but you can't take out the character. And when I refer to the past, and I look at the past, and I refer back to the picture, what I'm looking at there is I'm not necessarily harking back to the yesteryear. I personally thought at the time that the 90s were crap, just in terms of like a kid. There was nothing on TV. Sunday night was awful, crap, but football was amazing. But I'm referring back to the characters that we had, the people that we had, and this is just me. This is just who I am. We need to look back at the past. We need to look back at the characters of the past, and we can use those and the lessons that we learnt for the future. You look at Fergie. Fergie looked back to Sir Matt Busby. He looked back at that time and he took lessons from him back in the 50s, 60s, and brought that through to the 90s and the noughties. Amarin should look back to the past, to Fergie, to Sir Matt, to see what he did, see what the characters he had there, and update that. And that's where I'm on that. So I think we can all disagree to agree to look back on the past, but that's why I look back on the past. I look back on 1958. I think that's such an important year. People died for this club. The first European Cup that we won. Fergie's days. This is why, for me, I think it's really important that we look back at the past, but not in this bleary-eyed, like nostalgic ways. The past is the past, but this is why we need the characters in this team. Gavin, 77. I've been following the club since I was a nipper, and I agree. Loving ours and other glory days. This is not what I was talking. No, I agree with you, mate. I love the fact, Gavin. I love the fact that you're 77, and I love it. You can teach me. You know, I don't need to teach you a single thing, my friend. You are the epitome of why I follow this club. You know, that people like yourself, who were the forefathers of this club, and I absolutely love that. I much respect you there, and I completely agree with you. I think that we have to respect the past to progress with the future, and I love the fact that you're 77. I think that is fantastic. Where are we? So let's get back to chat a little bit there. So where are we? We are helpful we can forget about past seasons. It's an eye opener. Honestly, people that don't want Watkins don't know about Amarin's tactics. Cheers for sending me that. I will take a look at that, my friend. This is the beauty of going live. Jesus Christ. Where are we? Here we go. I will definitely take a look at this, my friend. Love it. Cool. Thank you for that. I will look at that. That is fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for sending me that. Let's get through some of these chats. Where are we? Thank you for sending me that. Ronin, Shesko, Baleba, Lemons, if I call it a perfect window. Arsenal lost 3-2 to Villarreal. Gyökeres not scoring. Arsenal not having a good pre-season. I don't think you can really read much into that, Joel, but I'll take all the positives that I absolutely can. Watkins is perfect to fit under Amarin. Jay, I think we need both. I wouldn't be adverse to Watkins either, but I do think that our ship has sailed. Watkins has 2 decent years, and then Michesko could have 12. Gavin, absolute legend. 77 years old. Absolute, just honestly, absolute. I just love it. I could listen to tales of the like 80s and 70s. I wonder if I go back. So you'd probably go back into the 60s. Yeah, I mean, you've probably seen pretty much everything, my friend. Wait, Nice is playing in the Champions League. We would not have played in the Champions League if we beat Spurs. I think Ineos need to dump Nice. Nemcha from Dortmund is a baller too. He'd count as a homegrown player as well. Yeah, I saw him. I really, really like him as well. So have a little look on that as well. Yeah. Have a look at his stats again. Tulip comes up clutch as always. Tulip is absolute legend and always comes up clutch, as do you all. Super well rounded. I agree. I hope Shesko does well. No worries. Rob, smash the like button, guys, and please subscribe to support the channel. Exactly. Support this amazing channel and support this amazing chat. Tonight I love the chat. I could spend all of my night on here. If I did, I think I would get divorced. I think she'd probably kick me out. I'm going to leave it on that, guys. It's been another amazing stream. I love the interactions. I will read that from Jay as well. I'll read all that. It's fascinating stuff. Obviously, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I always say this. I think this is really important to say to everybody is the one thing you can't buy is you can't buy time. I think that's really important for me to say. It may get old. It may get corny. But it's true. You cannot buy time. so important to me, and you've chosen to spend your time with me with this chat, this amazing chat. You've taken your time to like, favorite, subscribe. And it's just really important to me. You know, legends of the chat: Bobby, Tulip, Rob, Jay, Joel, Gavin Underwood, Tensu. I can't believe I missed you out, my friend. F9T, Rob. I said Joel. Who else we got on the chat? Tulip, Hesty. Who else we got? Luke Powell's been in there as well. Temiskin's been in there as well. Chief Herb, Cabito. Freaking Freaky's been in there as well. Mark Stewart. So guys, an absolute cracking show. Not one I was expecting to do. I was a little bit not worried, but I wondered if we'd get a bit Shesko'd out. I'm so glad we moved away from that conversation. I'm so glad he's not on the thumbnail. But to sum up, Shesko's done. Shesko pretty much done. Baleba, we're in talks with him. It's going to get exciting now as to see who the next one is. We do need to celebrate Shesko, so when we get a here we go, we can come on and celebrate that, guys. I mean, you know, with that's a given. And yeah, so J United, feel free, mate. Give me a shout. I'll have a little look, mate. And yeah, just I love it. This is absolute fantastic, guys. You're all on fire tonight. And if Baleba comes off this chat, it is all down to you guys. It is just this chat is clutch. It is just an amazing chat, and I feel very fortunate to be part of this chat. So guys, have a good rest of your day, morning, evening, whatever you do. Be safe, be lucky, have a fantastic day, have a little leap in your step tonight, have a good sleep, and let's get to it. And I'll see you very, very soon. If anything does drop, I'll jump back on as I always do. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care. God bless. I'll see you very soon.